The harder you try to control everything, the more everything begins to control you. A delayed reply can steal an afternoon. One uncertain decision can occupy an entire night. And a future that has not happened can make the present feel unlivable. Most of this struggle does not look dramatic from the outside. It looks like refreshing an inbox, rehearsing an argument, checking whether someone is online, or imagining every way tomorrow could go wrong. Your body is in one room. Your attention is somewhere you have no power. The usual advice is to let go, but that phrase is often useless because it sounds like an instruction to stop caring. Stoicism offers something more precise. You do not release your values, your effort, or your responsibility. You release the demand that reality must obey your preferred result. Marcus Aurelius understood the difference from a position that appeared to offer enormous control. As Roman emperor, he could issue orders and move armies, yet he could not command illness, loyalty, weather, time, or the final consequences of a decision. Authority increased his influence. It did not abolish uncertainty. The private notes we now call meditations are not the declarations of a man who had mastered peace. They are corrections, written repeatedly because the lesson kept being forgotten. That is what makes them useful. Marcus was not displaying calm. He was practicing his return to it. Again and again, Marcus returned to images of movement, time rushing past, generations disappearing, and a river carrying every form beyond our grasp. The point was not that life is meaningless. The point was that permanence is the wrong condition to demand from anything alive. In George Long's public domain translation of Meditations, Book 5, Section 23, Marcus writes, "For substance is like a river in a continual flow, and the activities of things are in constant change, and the causes work in infinite varieties, and there is hardly anything which stands still." We suffer when we ask a river to behave like a monument. We want affection without change, success without reversal, health without decline, and certainty before we act. But the world does not become stable because our fear requires it. It only continues to move. Letting go begins when you stop confusing influence with command. You can influence a conversation by speaking honestly. You cannot command the other person to understand. You can prepare carefully for an opportunity. You cannot order the outcome to reward your effort. Marcus makes the psychological point elsewhere in Meditations. When an external thing causes distress, the disturbance does not come from the thing alone, but from the judgment we form about it. That judgment can be questioned, revised, or released. Imagine that you send an important message and receive no reply. The fact is simple: no reply has arrived. The mind adds a story: they are angry, I ruined everything, this always happens to me. Soon, you are reacting not to silence, but to a verdict written by your own imagination. This distinction does not make the situation pleasant, and it does not guarantee a good answer. It does something more useful: it prevents an unknown fact from becoming unlimited suffering. You can feel concern without promoting every fearful interpretation into reality. What remains yours is smaller than the mind first wants, but more powerful than it appears. Your attention. Your judgment. The standard you choose. The words you use. The preparation you make. The next action you take. These are not everything. They are the beginning of every responsible response. What is not fully yours includes another person's opinion, the past, the timing of an opportunity, the health of a body, and the final result of even excellent work. You may affect these things. You may care deeply about them. But you do not possess the final vote. Epictetus opens the Enchiridion with the same distinction in its most direct form: some things are in our control and others not. He places our opinions, aims, desires, aversions, and our own actions on one side: body, property, reputation, office, and whatever is not our own action on the other. This does not mean your body, livelihood, or reputation are unimportant. It means they are not obedient possessions. Care for your health, protect your work, and correct a false accusation when wisdom requires it. Then recognize where your command ends. Influence is real. Total control is not. Stoic practice also does not ask you to prevent the first movement of emotion. Shock, fear, anger, and grief can arrive before a considered judgment. The practice begins in the next space, before you turn the feeling into a permanent story, a reckless action, or an identity. Here is a practical way to create that space. Call it the circle of agency. Take one situation that is consuming your attention and write 3 short headings: fact, story, next action. Do not solve your whole life. Work with the one decision in front of you. First, write only the fact a camera could record. Not, my manager has lost confidence in me. Write, my manager asked to revise 2 pages and moved the meeting to Friday. Facts are often uncomfortable. They are usually smaller than the story surrounding them. Second, name the story your mind has attached. I am failing. They regret choosing me. This will destroy my future. You do not need to shame the story or prove it impossible. You only need to stop disguising an interpretation as a fact. Third, choose the next action that is genuinely yours. Revise the 2 pages. Ask one clarifying question. Prepare for Friday. Rest before making another judgment. A controllable action will often feel modest. That is why the anxious mind overlooks it while searching for certainty. The exercise does not promise that Friday will go well. It promises something more honest. Until Friday arrives, you can use Thursday well. That is the Stoic return to the present, not denial of the future, but refusal to sacrifice the only hour in which action is possible. There is an important objection. What if the problem is injustice, manipulation, or harm? Should you simply accept it because another person is outside your control? No. Letting go of total control is not surrendering judgment, boundaries, courage, or collective action. You may leave, report, refuse, organize, defend, or ask for help. The discipline is to act from your principles without making your inner stability depend on forcing another person to become reasonable. A boundary is your decision about your participation. It is not mind control performed on someone else. Impermanence also does not make love, work, or achievement pointless. A song is not worthless because it ends. A season is not a failure because it changes. Their limits are part of what makes attention matter. The river asks you to participate without pretending you can possess the water. Tonight, choose one uncertainty that has been taking more attention than it deserves. Write the fact. Name the story. Choose the next action. Then give the outcome back to the river for one night. If the mind retrieves it, repeat the distinction without anger. Marcus did not become calm because he was powerful. If anything, power gave him more outcomes to fear and more events he could mistakenly believe should obey him. His notes show a person practicing because practice was necessary, not because serenity was automatic. The goal is not to control less because nothing matters. It is to stop spending your finite life attempting a kind of control no human being has ever possessed. Carefully. Prepare carefully. Act courageously. And release the demand that your effort must purchase certainty. What is one outcome you have been trying to control? And beneath all the stories, what is the next action that is actually yours? Write it in one honest sentence below, and return to it when the future tries to take possession of the present.